Buenos dias, bonjour. I know I'm a few minutes late. I was in the throes of cleaning fish, which is a chore. It was a chore. So, let's see. Good morning. All right, let's soak the cherry tomatoes need to be good morning. Whew. Bonjour, Robin. Good morning. So I've got the cherry tomatoes soaking. I was a little late this morning because I was in the throes of cleaning fish, something I absolutely abhor. But when I went to the fish market that last time, and I found this fish that I've been looking for called pompano. And then I'm like, oh, they had a bunch of little other fish. This is pompano. Pompano fish, you know, with that hourglass kind of shape. And then there was only one in that bushel. And I'm like, oh, I've been missing that fish. Where can I get some? He said, oh, it gets sold very fast. I said, well, what time should I come? He said 4 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, nah. There is nothing that I want that bad that I'm going to go to the fish market at 4 a.m. No. So, a word of encouragement before we get started. You know, you heard what happened to Venezuela. And you know that they have been predicting a major earthquake along the Pacific. And what they're saying is that it will run along the coast of the Pacific Ocean. Well, my apartment is right, you know, across the ocean here. And that means from California all the way down South America, we are at risk of whatever. Those double earthquakes that happen, I think they call it a doublet. And that is something that is truly unusual. And you guys know that a lot has been happening in the weather, you know, global warming, which people deny, but things are changing. And on the day that they had the earthquake in Venezuela, there was one in California, there was one, I think, in Japan. So somebody said something is happening in the earth underneath. So it was, and all the rescue people, you know, with their bare hands, finding people, babies being born in the rubbles. And I remember the earthquake in Haiti killing thousands of people. When you have a country that has a very fragile infrastructure, of course, you're gonna have a lot of damage and a lot of lives lost. We had COVID, and you have earthquakes, and you have storms, and I guess the word is that, again, what is the word again? It is appointed for men once to die. So sometimes we live our lives like we're gonna live forever. This lady I met here in Panama, she was from my state, and she had gotten married, and she was living her best life. You know, she and her husband were retired, and they were traveling around. They didn't really care for Panama that much, but they were in Europe, and once in a while I'll see her on a Facebook page. And then you know how this algorithm is. If you don't interact, you don't see those people again. So I hadn't heard from her for a long time. And then she popped on my feed, and that happens too. And I'm like, why is she back on my feed? Especially some people are blocked, right? And now she's saying, pray for me. And I'm like, what happened? And it turns out she was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. And when I'm thinking about those things, you know, the earthquakes, the storms, and the crimes, and the shootings, and people, mankind trying their best to just hurt each other and grab more, and it just kind of, if you're not careful, your brain's gonna do somersault, right? So I was talking, you know, when I was teaching yesterday, talking to some of the ladies, and I'm like, you know, the best you can do to prepare, how do you prepare for an earthquake? And there were some ladies who were from California, and the sister said, oh, I've lived through 3 earthquakes. Some people, it's just part of their lives, you know, if you live in California or in a very seismic area. I remember being in Chile, and my bedside table was shaking, and I ran down to them like, oh my God, and they're like, we get those all the time. Buenos dias, Greta. So I think you got to prepare yourself in your mind for the brevity of life and for the possible, your number being called at any moment. I'm going to be 68. I see young women talking about they were diagnosed with awful disease. This young girl, I think she must be like 20 or 22, developed some cholangioma carcinoma, something about the bile duct cancer. Who has that? And why her in the prime of her life? I don't have the answer to those questions. All I know is that I am grateful to have lived to be this long. And you should too. And I know Greta is. But getting your mindset to say, if it happens, I'm okay. Because each one of us is going to have a battle. Those who are really blessed and just go to bed and not wake up, whoo, that's what I'm shooting for. I'm praying for that. But it's only a small percentage. A lot of us are going to go through some tough times. And I think what you do is you got to prepare up here. I used to say, I do have the gifts of encouragement. I encourage people. But I used to say, the moment you go through some awful things, and by God's grace, you come through. But don't rest too long, because the next tragedy is right around the corner. So your mind is in constant motion of enduring, managing, surviving, and sometimes thriving. But it's up to you. Your family is not going to do it for you. They might offer some support. It's up here that you have to set your mind that whatever wind blows your way, you're going to remain standing. Some people come on camera and they're like, you know, everything is hunky-dory, everything is fine. I'll never come to you. Now, I see some people sharing too much, right, on social media. You know, they're going through treatment and they're showing every little thing. I'm not that kind of person. But can I share with you my heart? Yes, but you don't need to know the nitty details of my life. We have a story. We have a history. But as we conquer, overcome, we should have learned something, because as I said, the next one is waiting to hit you. So if you're not planted, so do you want every storm to come for you to buckle and it's going to take you forever to come back up? That's exhausting, right? So sometimes you see things happening to some people and you're like, oh my God, I have no idea how she's making it, how she's surviving, right? Because some people just go through some stuff. And I am blessed that I haven't gone through that much stuff. But we each have our own history. We each fighting our own battle. So I hope that watching, and you know what? Every time I'm watching the rescue effort, a baby born in the rubbles, you know, they're grabbing someone. I mean, I cry. So being, it's not soft, you know, soft-hearted, but you're still strong. You know, it's not a conflict to be soft-hearted but strong, resolute. The person who says, this will not break me. Now, that's different. I see a lot of people, you know, diagnosed with cancer, and they're like, oh, we're going to beat this. I don't know that I'm going to be that person. Because knowing what I know, yes, I still believe in miracles, but that might be the thing that takes you out. And of course, there are beautiful stories of people who like, I'm okay with it. Let me enjoy whatever time I have left. I'm that person. I don't want heroic thing. I will not go to many studies, treatments, and stuff like that. You've heard me say that before, right? But every day, making a decision to be a good human, and I use that a lot. And a good human is somebody who's aware. If you call that woke, that's your business. I don't have that word. But someone who is aware of the state of humanity, how depraved. And I don't have the words to describe certain things that are happening around us. But then when I go look back, it's always been happening. Man has always been wicked. So that's where you take courage in saying, this too shall pass, because this is the state of humanity. But you have to resolute inside of you, how am I going to live my life? I'm going to be a good human. I'm going to care. I'm going to feel. I'm going to be kind. And I can't live my life feeling like, oh, well, this is not happening to me. I don't have to worry about it. We are a community, local or global. And I refuse to allow others, whatever they're doing, to influence me. And I see that a lot, even in my little group here. Somebody would be making a lot of noise and just tip, 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 and then you see others fall prey. And I'm like, you live to be this old and you still can't see it, because I'm very intuitive. I can feel people from a mile. And when they say, let people show you who they are, they will eventually. But do I let that harden my heart? No, because I've already expected it. Okay, let's get cooking. You know, every Sunday I'm going to give you a little word, you know, some words, because the word for me is when I watch the news and I'm crying, and then I lift myself up and I'm like, okay, we got to keep living. We got to keep helping, you know, making donations to Venezuela, whatever we need to do in our little circle and then globally. So that will not change. No matter what happens, you got to stay resolute. You got to stay resolute. Okay. Amen. The pastor has stopped. So I was cleaning fish. Oh my God, what a disaster. I know why. I said I would not clean fish. But again, I saw this pompano, only this one, because usually I buy fillets. So today I have this, a bunch of small little fish. Okay, so they're clean. So now I'm making a marinade, let them marinate. So I have fish. Remember I said I didn't go to the store. Buenos dias, Maria. Muy bien, gracias, y tú? I don't know what happened yesterday. I wanted to join. I don't know what happened, but Greta and I, we sat there, we chatted the whole time until it was time for the game, which we lost again. Oh well. But they played good. What did I say? Todavía estamos orgullosos de nuestra sele. Everybody's so proud of the Panamanian team. They played good. They're just not at that level. And I knew it. Well, yeah. I knew it. If Panama were to beat England, that would be a miracle. Okay, because it's not that kind of they're not well matched. All right, so I have lots of veggies, as I always do. The only protein, well, I have chickpeas. I said, we're not doing chickpeas. So I'm gonna cook the fish, and of course I do 2 plates now. Hola, Nika. I do 2 plates now. So I'm going to put some fish in the oven. Right now in the oven, I have beets roasting. So I have beets, I have squash, I have chayote, I have green peppers, I have carrots, and then I had but the arugula that I showed you in that last video, and I had some good looking mushrooms. So one is gonna be a salad with the fish, and one is gonna be with the squash, and then I'm gonna do a medley of cherry tomatoes and peppers and carrots. Now the exciting part is in the plating. You know, I love plating. Good morning. Oh, Nana, ¿cómo estás? You know, your videos don't come on my feed anymore. I don't know what's happening. I know you're doing wonderful stuff. Got an election, everything is good? All right, good morning, M. Thomas, good to see you. All right, so it's like using what I have in around the house, okay? So I'm gonna make a marinade for the fish. And then we're going to roast some of the squash. I'm gonna plate the squash. One is gonna be like, I'm gonna do slices and around, and then one is going to be, I'm gonna make a mash. Not really a puree, but a mash. All right, so my head is just kinda, that's the part I love, right? Trying to figure out, you know, you have all that good food, you know, you got fish and then you have all the veggies. Yeah, you could just throw them in a plate, but what's the fun in that? All right. Okay. Vámonos. Oh, let me put my, that's okay. I was like, I don't have my, my apron on, but that's okay. You know, I'm looking for a small food processor to make a piece in the marinade, because I think my blender here is really not so appropriate, but we're gonna use what we have, right? Gonna do that. I'm gonna put some thyme. Ooh, gotta put some thyme. Panama is not so hot these days. Everything's good. You're welcome. You're not coming on my feed anymore. You know, I don't know what happened, Chris. You know what? I'm just so sick of this Mr. Algorithm. I don't care for him at all. Never met him. Who knows? You know, there's some people, and then I have some people I block on Facebook, and then they come up and I'm like, I thought I unfriended you. Why are you showing up on my feed? I don't know. But you know what I've decided, Nana? I'm not chasing YouTube. I'm using YouTube to communicate with my friends and who follows me, and that's it. I do shorts and I share what I'm doing, and that's it. But I'm not chasing this number of views, and if it's gonna happen, let it happen. If not, and I see people do that too, because you get exhausted. That's too much stress and work. You gotta do it this way. You gotta use these keywords. You gotta do this. You gotta post at this time. It's just too much. I made this decision. I said I will no longer. All right. I have some Scotch bonnet peppers, but because it's me eating it, I'm putting a little bit. But you don't have to if you don't care for heat. I just like a little bit. Okay, so that's not bad. And I have some parsley, some cilantro. Look at that. Ugh. If you don't use cilantro within 2 days here, it goes bad. All right, let me give it a quick rinse. So this is going to be easy today, because I am still not doing carbs, because I don't know what it is with me and carbs these days. It makes me swell up and hold fluids, and I'm like, you know what, I can't fight this body anymore. It's got a mind of its own. So I'm like, you do your thing, I'll do mine. All right, I have some rosemary, even though I don't know how that's gonna work, but I'm gonna open it. Just put the leaves, okay, that's that. We need garlic. Always need garlic. Ugh. And I always have plenty. I think those, the beets are good probably, because they were real big. I love roasted beets. Yes. So Panama, we started the rainy season in like this, is it December? No, that's the dry season. Is it? No. You know, I get myself confused with the seasons also. We are in the rainy season. And this is June. Okay. I think it starts May through like early December. Yes, okay. I got it now. Sometimes I get it turned around. But this rainy season started with a bang. I mean, it was so warm and humid. I think I told you, I woke up one day and I got into the hallway and my glasses fogged up because I don't leave my AC on at night, only in the bedroom. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that was so, and then you step outside, oof. But now, I don't even put the AC on in the room at night. I woke up this morning and it felt very pleasurable. So we're getting a little break. So I am very happy. Now Panama already sent a team to Venezuela to help. And let me tell you, we have a lot of Venezuelans here. And the response has been amazing. I mean, they're springing into action. The mayor's office started a collection site and then volunteers in line. I mean, so they have a team of 12 trained rescatitas, we call them here, rescuers who are trained in doing that kind of work. And with the dogs, with the sniffing dogs. So they left 2 days ago, I believe, on Friday. So the response was pretty quick. I'm so proud of them for doing that. Ooh, Father. I really don't know what to say. All right, and we're gonna put, I'll put the lemon afterwards, the lime. So let's put a little bit of olive oil. Because you need some liquid to be able to blend this, right? So if I need more liquid, I'll add a little water. We'll see. Vámonos. I don't know if I told you that in this kitchen, they only have like 2 outlets. So, How you have two outlets in a whole kitchen is beyond me. But, okay. So what we need to add here now, salt, pepper, and the rest of the spices that I like. Adobo. I don't put cumin in fish, but you can if you want to. Because you know, if you're doing a fillet, sometimes there's salt and pepper, a little garlic, a bit of herbs, and that's all you need. You don't need to season fish too much. But I'm gonna put mine in the oven, so it might need a little bit more, okay? Then we're gonna squeeze our lime. I had a hard time finding some good limes this week. I have the hot peppers. I just love good limes. And I know in Mexico, this is the land of limes, right? Limon. Here they call everything limon. It could be sour orange, it could be the yellow lemon, it could be lime, everything is limon. Limones. Heart-wrenching to see. Oh, yes, man. Whew. And you know, we were talking about, I'm like, does Panama have a public warning system for something like that? And I don't have the answer yet. ChatGPT said no, because we have an organization called SINAPROC here, and it's probably an acronym for a lot. Yes. And they are very good at rescuing people. People get lost at sea and they have flooding. That's the agency that takes care of those folks. So they are the ones that just left for Venezuela. All right, so this is our marinade. See? Nice, right? So we're going to taste it. Probably need some more salt. The acid is good. I need a little soy sauce, a little dark soy. It actually tastes good. A little bit of sea salt. No mucho. It's amazing how good your blood pressure is when you're in an area where you are eating well and you're not stressed every minute of your life. And that's why I left South Africa, because I thought I was going to hurt myself. Because I was so stressed out between the spiders that were in my room, the food. I was like, oh, no. I want to help. I want to be a volunteer, but not kill myself in the process. That would be a no-bueno. So I'm putting all this good marinade inside the fish also. So it's not, so when it cooks, it's going to cook from the inside out as well, right? Because you have little cavities that you have to account for. All right. So I'm going to put this in the fridge while I do the rest of my stuff, because this fish is going to take about 15 minutes in the oven to cook, and maybe even less. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't score them. Is it score? How do you say that when you cut them? Core or score? I did my students, some of them, they say, no, that's not how you say it. You correct us in Spanish all the time, so it's our turn to correct you. Yes, oh my God, I should have done that before. So you see, you're not gonna see me wearing gloves while I'm cooking. I just think it's really funny when I see these people, all of them wearing gloves. It's like, okay, I don't know what, I might have to put this on a board. I want to cut myself. I'm using my serrated knife because it's got teeth. Yeah, because when you do that, the little slits, it gets the marinade in there. So you get really flavorful fish. But after this, oh no, I'm back to fillets. Nope. The reason I don't like to do this is because the scales would be all over the place. It's like, who wants to deal with that? I found a company that I'm going to use to come and do maybe a deep cleaning once a month or so. You know, doing baseboards and stuff. I don't want to do that. But I prefer to use a company because I don't want to be worried about, you know, employment. There's this young couple who got called into court for a person that they had hired as a nanny reported them for something. I think they fired her and she went to the unemployment agency to say it was an illegal firing. You know, when you come into country, you don't know the laws. Be careful, okay? So because everybody's doing it doesn't mean you need to do it too. So I'd rather use a company. They handle it. I'm not your employer. Not doing it. I've always been someone who is straight and narrow. I don't ever want to skirt the law. If I don't know something, I don't do it. I find out. Okay, I think we did every one of them. Excellent. Alright. Hands are washed. Let's continue. Don't touch you. Go in. Yes. Yep. Now see, the best way to cook this little fish would be to put it in hot oil and fry it. But I'm not frying. I don't fry anything in my kitchen. Nada de nada. Okay? I've given that up. This is no longer my life. Listen, I used to make grillo. Grillo is fried pork. And when I went to a place in La Chorrera. La Chorrera is in the west part of the city called PANAMA Relocation. And the influence, the Colombian influence, Nana, is very strong there. So they're into cumbia, and of course the food is similar. Colombian cuisine is very close to Panamanian cuisine because, you know, they used to be one and the same. All right, so this is perfecto. That was just perfect. So we're gonna put that in the fridge for now. All right. So we're gonna get we're gonna put our veggies in here. I'm gonna start using parchment paper a lot because this doctor says things I don't have in my home, and I'm sure you've seen her as a cancer doctor. She's always showing herself eating her steak and potatoes and veggies, because you do need the vitamin B12. We get it from meat, right? So those of us who are kind of watching the meat, you gotta think. I just had labs done. I don't have the results yet, but last time I did some labs, there were some things that were on the low side, and I was like, well, why is my white count low? I don't have an infection. Actually, it would be the opposite, it would be high. When your white count is low, that means sometimes there's just some kind of cancer or something. And I'm like, but everything else is fine. So I did some research, and then it had something to do with the low protein. When I was doing full food plant-based. All right, my beets, let's see. If they're cooked, yeah, they're good. So I'm just gonna put them in the fridge so they can cool off. Okay. Love roasted beets. All right, cool off over here. So now I have two things I can use to roast my veggies, right? Okay, I can use this one and this one. So, we want to use, I have some peppers that I need to use before they go bad. It really hurts me when I have to throw away food because I forgot to use them. And that's what we're doing today. We're using what we have before they go bad. Because that makes me a bad stewardess of what God has given me, to throw away food. Remember when you were growing up, your mom would say, eat it. Remember the little kids starving in Africa? Yep, my mom used to say that. So as it stands right now, I feel very bad. Let's see. I'm trying to think what cuts. Yes, I'm gonna see what cuts I'm gonna use. Let's do juliennes, right? We're gonna julienne, meaning the long strand. These are juliennes. Because if you do the little square, those are dices, right? So let's do julienne. One thing I haven't used a lot here is apio, celery. Apio, that's how we say celery. And of course, you can't ever eat too many vegetables. And what you always want with your veggies, you're always looking for color. You want variety of colors. Chayote, one of my favorite veggies. Love it. They are very mild tasting, and it's almost like a cucumber. Very high water content, but goes in very well in soups and stews. Yes. Now they look different from the ones we used to buy in the States, but I was happy to see them. Yes. All right. But there is a core You gotta make sure you take that out. Otherwise it gets really hard. So this little white core here, you're gonna take that out. Right? So again, keeping with the size. And then sometimes they'll have some ridges like that. You gotta take them out. I don't know how you do this wearing gloves, but anyway. 1, 2, 3. Watch it. Watch yourself so you don't get cut. See how it moves? Be careful. So that's gonna be really good. I haven't had chickpeas this week. What did I have? I want to buy some what we call patas here. It's kind of the collagenous part of the cow. It's the foot. It's really good for you in terms of, for me too, in terms of collagen, right? So now my oven is still hot. So these are gonna take like 15 minutes to cook. Because you know, you don't really want them too soft. See? Okay. I'm enjoying the World Cup. Are you guys watching the games? I don't watch all of them, now that's for sure. But somebody said, ooh, the World Cup didn't need the United States, but the US needed the World Cup. Because after the Knicks won in New York, my state, and to see the joy and people enjoying themselves, you know, we've been through so much heartache that the people needed something. Oof. Another mind shift. You got to get your head straight, because if you let all this stuff get to you, that's a no bueno, sis. So you got to, you know, watch the World Cup, go to the beach, you know, just enjoy yourself. And I tell people my birthday's coming up. I want to do another photo shoot, because last year I just wasn't in the mood for it. I was like, it was too much that was grieving my heart. And I was like, and you know, it's kind of sad when grief becomes habitual. See what I mean? When the things happening around you get to the point where you almost, you don't want to say immune to it, but it doesn't have the same effect on you. Now, it could be two things. It could be that you become totally immune, which is not what I recommend at all, because you know the tree, like I said. And you don't want to get to that point where you're like, well, I don't really care, it's not happening to me. No. But you've taken your power back, that you don't allow it to grieve you every single day. No one can live like that. No one can grieve for that long. When you're grieving, when I talk about the grieving process, the grief process, you got to get to a point where you get out of it. You got to not get over it, but your reaction to it and how it affects you should improve, should get better. Otherwise, you have not grieved successfully. Oh, that's a good word. Yep. Okay. Ooh, that's what I was trying to do. Now, see, I never have too many vegetables around. That pot of cabbage and eggplant, the last I ate was yesterday. It's just me, so there's nobody else here that I am cooking for. And like I said, I want to get in my outfit photo shoot, so I've been kind of watching my caloric intake. All right, so we need some red. Ooh, look at that. Okay, I need to use these before they go bad. Lord, I would be so upset with myself. Green, yellow, and orange. All right, we're gonna use all of it. Oh, Lordy. All right, let's do that, and then we're gonna, no, not the dice. So these are things that I always have in my fridge. Bell peppers, chayote, not tomatoes. I usually have cabbage. Yep. And now beets, squash, I always have those. Because I can either go to the heavy stuff I have delivered now. You know, like squash, watermelon, potatoes, stuff like that. Even though I'm not really into potatoes these days, but that purple potato, I need to get some and cook some here. All right, so we cannot let our peppers go bad. No, 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 no. All right, Julian, use some and then leave the rest for me to finish eating this week. If I cook a couple of eggs, I like to put some onions and peppers in there. Very good. Ooh, look at that. Ooh. I get excited. Remember, you eat with your eyes. So your veggies, I only have the arugula today. That is green. But I had a lot of, I've seen a lot of zucchini lately. Yes, not squash. But the zucchini is plentiful. They must be in season. And I've also noticed that when I eat mango, too much mango, it swells me up too. It does something with my digestion. My GI system is super sensitive. I remember when I was in the hospital with COVID, the treatment was to give you like an anti-clotting medicine because COVID with the inflammation, people were throwing clots left and right. So it was like automatically, like I've done in my practice, you know, when I was in the intensive care unit, that when somebody comes with chest pain or whatever, we automatically started them on aspirin. Well, I'm allergic to aspirin pretty much. It gives me the worst, heartburns, you know, like indigestion. So I can't, I mean, it's not an allergy, it's like an intolerance, right? There's a difference. And they give me 1 shot of Lovenox in my belly. Yeah, I know, not the mango. 1 shot of Lovenox. I went to the bathroom and there was blood in the toilet. And I was like, I wasn't sure where the blood was coming from. So I said to the nurse, I'm like, no, I don't want it anymore. So my body is very sensitive to anything that is new. That's why I have to really be careful what I eat. I don't eat street food. You're not gonna find me out there just snacking on everything. No. And I've been here in Panama, I can tell you, I visited 3 times, and the 4th time I stayed, not once did I get food poisoning. Because I just don't eat out. I don't eat other people's food. And my food doesn't make me sick. So I would encourage you to eat at home. Not only it is healthier, but you keep yourself from getting all this stuff. You know, so many people come to visit, oh, I'm nursing something I ate. Because you're out there eating all the junk. Sisters, think about it. When you go to a restaurant, you're putting your life in somebody's hands. You don't know how the food was prepared. Now, I have to tell you, if you go to like a high-end restaurant, most likely they follow certain standard, right? In terms of cleanliness, they have chefs who are trained. So I'm not saying don't go to Ruth and get with Chris, I guess, and get a steak or something like that. But when you go to this little hole in the wall, mom and pop, even here in Panama, these little fondas, I don't know how the food was prepared back there. I don't know how clean those places are. Do you think I'm gonna be just opening myself up and eating there every day? I know people who are there several times a day. Not me. Nope, not me. So be careful what you put in your mouth, where it's been. Do you trust the restaurant? Because some of the stuff, I can tell you, I'm from the food industry, the stuff they used to find in some of these, I'm not gonna say what culture, but it's crazy. Rats, roaches, you don't think those things make you sick? Come on. All right, so I'm gonna put it in the oven, and then once it goes down, then I'll mix it and then recheck the taste, right? Because you don't want to put too much right now. So this is paprika. You know what? I think I'm gonna put it in here because this is just too full. It won't give the veggies time to, space to marinate. That would be a no bueno. Ooh, look at this. Okay. Very nice. So let's put some adobo. Did I put adobo? I don't remember. Okay. Now let's do some herbs. Oregano. Oregano every day. It's kind of like garlic, but I'm not going to spend time with it. Oh, no, this is thyme. And then oregano would be fine. And of course, I don't use garlic powder. You guys know that. Garlic powder is a no bueno in my kitchen. The last food poisoning I had was in New York City. We were there for Christmas, getting ready to go on a Broadway show. And I went to a Chinese restaurant and I had some chicken wings. I was so sick. I thought I was gonna die. And the belief that I used to have, that if something is fried, therefore it's safe, that the heat has killed almost everything. No. So that was the last time, and I'm talking that would be 20 years ago. That was the last time I ate at a place like that. And I remember my boys getting sick from a taco from Taco Bell. The kids were just dragging themselves on the floor, throwing up in the bathroom, and I'm like, that's why I'm not a fan of tacos. You got ground beef and stuff, I'm not eating it. Nope. Not eating it. Well, I don't eat meat now anyway. I think if I were to eat like some ground beef, I would get sick because my stomach is just not used to that. It's been 4 years. But if you put a filet mignon in front of me and if it comes from a good place like Ruth, I probably won't be able to say no. Okay, vámonos. Take the time to season your food. Por favor. So towards the end, I'm probably gonna squeeze some lime juice on this. All right. And the last thing we need to do, we're gonna put it here, is the squash. And the squash probably gonna cook faster than the veggies. Squash is one of my favorite things in the world to eat. And my God, we have so much of it here. I went to the little outdoor fruteria. I mean, they have like a whole one. They sell them whole. I prefer to buy half because I want to see how it looks. I'm looking for that buttery orangey color. I had a few pale ones, and I was like, what's happening? And it could be they had harvested them too soon. You know, that happens with avocado and also with mangoes and anything else. I tried some different mangoes this week. Didn't like it. I like mangoes from Costa Rica. They're really good. But now I have to watch mangoes and nuts. I think I was just indulging too much. That's why I got off the rail. So I had to say, maybe. That's a no bueno. I don't know why I thought sometime I think I can cheat. I just can't. My body says, nope, I'm the boss now. Let's see. These are the ones I'm going to use for the mash. But the ones that I'm going to use slices, I'm going to have to put in a different dish. For one dish, we're going to use some sliced squash. I think Panama has been kind of quiet in terms of festivals and stuff. They had Corpus Christi the other day. I think I have a short video I want to show of that. I didn't go, but there's a sister who went, and they showed the whole thing on, we have a TV station here called Ser TV. It's like PBS in the States. It's got a lot of cultural stuff, and I love. They even do some classes, like they were showing some math problem the other day. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I remember after I sold my home care company, I said, you know what? I always wanted to be a doctor. Well, maybe I can fulfill that dream. I think I must have been, 50 or 52? What's on the menu? We're going to cook some fish with some veggies in some capacity. And I said, I took a couple of years, I traveled, went to Europe and other places. And then I said, okay, let me see. I think I went to, did I go to culinary school at that time? So I think that's enough for our mash. So let's season, olive oil. And then this is one of those that doesn't need a lot of seasoning because the buttery taste is so good. So put some paprika, a little bit. Now when I do these, I like to put a little turmeric, right? To just, even when I'm doing just regular potatoes, I love to put some turmeric in there. That's a good thing. And then just a few herbs, and we're good to go. We did salt and pepper. Let's do oregano. I love oregano. Oh, could use a little cumin as well. One thing I like also, I like Chinese 5-spice. I need to buy some. I can make it. I have one of those grinders now. So, all right. Ooh, yes. And herbe de Provence. I love this stuff. It's an herb mixture. Really good. I was watching them. I just signed up with the French chef, and I love watching them. They were cooking the sole, the way they cook that filet of sole, ooh, and all that butter and basting. Yes, but I don't know if we have a fish that would fit that criteria. Okay, let's see. So, ooh, I forgot the carrots. That's okay, we don't need carrots today. And then we put the beets, and that's back. We're gonna make a cute little salad. Escovitch, yes. Not quite, not like that. We're gonna do, we're gonna put some fish in the oven, and then we're gonna do one on the stove. Very easy. Nothing fancy, but not escovitch. All right. So now, this is our fish that's been marinating, right? Okay. And I usually say you don't need to marinate fish overnight. It's not necessary. Let's see. Okay. I'm gonna use one of these. We're gonna put maybe 3 of the fillets in here. I'm gonna use my parchment paper again. You know, you could do fish what we call en papillote. En papillote is like when you just, well, when we used to, you could use parchment paper, you put the fish and you put all the veggies, like escovitch, but like on a grill. Or you could put it in the oven. And you close it up so all the flavors stay in. You know, you put the fish and then you close everything and you let it cook and all the flavors stay. Oh yeah. Yep. It's a yummy, yummy, yummy way to eat fish. All right, so we're gonna do, I don't know if we have room for 3 in this little thing here. Where is that? I think we're only gonna do 2. We don't have room for 3. Or maybe if I put the other one upside down, that might work. Yep. Okay. Está bien. All right. So we're gonna put that in the oven. Very good. Let's make the salad. Now I have some dressing left, but they have been in the fridge, so I need to throw them out. Put these. So I'm going to boil that water and put these in here so they can thaw out. And then I'm going to, you know, fix the flavor so I can use that dressing. And that dressing is just lime juice, olive oil, herbs, salt, pepper, and one of them has honey Dijon mustard and greeny mustard, which is a great dressing all around for anything that you want. All right. Wash my hands. Oh. Okay. I forgot my cherry tomatoes were soaking in vinegar. All right. So let's add them to this mixture. And I'm gonna leave some for the salad. Yeah. Okay, that will do. This is one of notion of using what you have in the house. And because I always have veggies, so I'm never out of veggies. Woo. Mm-mm. All right. So the salad. Sometimes I cut them in half, sometimes I leave them whole. I was doing a live, was it on Friday? And I asked the question, when I showed my haul, when I went to the farmer's market, and I said, how much do you think that was? And then it was another one of those jack pepin. Yes, but that's not him. Yeah, he uses a lot of herbs. But you know, the French cook really nicely, and when you go to Cordon Bleu, your whole cooking technique is based on French techniques. Mm-hmm. All right. So arugula, my favorite to eat. I do not like the lettuce, like I said. Arugula or bero. Bero, B-E-R-R-O, is watercress. And the one that are hydroponic, that they cook, that they raise indoors, very soft and really, really nice. Not as peppery as the original watercress. The original watercress, when I grew up, we used it a lot in stews. It was buried in there. We made what we call bouillon, which was a type of very light, soupy, not like a stew. It's not thick at all. Very brothy. All right. And then we're gonna make sure we clean our beets. All right, I have not had mushrooms since I left the US, what, 3.5 years ago? This is not something you'll find in salad in Panama. Salads are not a thing here, okay? So you can make your own, but it's not something that is broadly used. You know, they'll cut some tomatoes and some cucumbers. Sometimes, you know, if you go, you'll find some, but it's not, yeah, it's not something that people, you know, use. I usually take those out. Some people don't, I do. I don't know, I thought maybe I'd do a chicken cordon bleu one time, or I can do chicken parmesan. You tell me what you want. But Friday, I asked, how much do you think this costs? And then it was, all right, let's put the water in here and kind of loosen up my thing. And I did that, and this girl was, you no longer can eat tomatoes, but I can use cherry tomatoes for flavor. Okay. Yeah, I usually try to stay away from tomatoes too because of the risk of inflaming your joints. So I use it sparingly. So, you know, like, it used to be one other thing, lettuce, tomato, not now. You know how our bodies change and we change. That's why I don't eat out. I'm like, I don't think they would do all the washing that I do, the rinsing. They don't. So I had a sister who came here. She was living not too far from me. One day she said she was sick. I said, well, what did you eat? And she told me what she ate. I said, what did you have? She said, I had a salad. If the salad, they don't wash really well, you can get sick. And I'm not trying to scare you people. I'm just telling you the truth. Eat at home. Don't keep going to these restaurants. I went to a very, well, I don't say famous, but you know how these expats come here like, we're going here, we're going there. And it's like something to be proud of. They're going to hop into these restaurants. And I'm like, go ahead. You know, I don't do that. But I went to this restaurant. It was an event. And then I was like, you know, because I'm not eating a lot of carbs, I love Italian food. I just can't have it. And then I said, I look at the menu very carefully, and they had a vegetarian lasagna. I said, well, let me try that. Oh, not vegetarian, they call it vegetable lasagna. I said, well, let me try it. Let me tell you, when this thing came on the plate, it was a white square covered with cheese from one end to the other. And I'm like, oh. And then I had to use my knife to cut through the thick layer of white cheese that they had on there. It wasn't even Parmesan or anything like that. And then they had a creamy, white, creamy sauce, like an Alfredo, which I don't eat that. And I said maybe a couple of peas. There were no vegetables in there. And I was like, what in the world is that? I sent it back, and I'm like, not only do I not frequent your place, but you're definitely not going to find me. It was just so disappointing. I'm like, no. But you know, I met a lady one time, and I was telling her what I do, and she's like, oh, no. I don't want any responsibilities. All I want to know is, where am I going to eat the next day? Well, now they have these chefs who come to their home, so that's better than eating out. Hopefully the chef doesn't cross-contaminate. Just because they call themselves chef doesn't mean they want cross-contaminate or washing their hand or keeping their gloves on forever in between everything. Wash your hands. Wash your hands. It's much better than just wearing a pair of gloves. You know, we used to do that in the kitchen to say, you don't wear a glove and then you have to change it every 2 hours. But unless you really, you know, you're monitoring that, they can have those gloves on from morning till night, till they finish their shift. Ooh, yucky. No bueno. I don't know. Ooh. Okay, when we finish this thing here, we're going to cook our fish. I'm excited about that. Usually I like to cook my fish on the stove, and then I kind of put them like in a light batter. It kind of helps keep their shape. I think I'll do that again. And I do that with my fillets. Oh, so good. So good. And I think that's one of my problems. I love my own cooking. I do. Ooh. I tried to share my food last week with the sister, but she was here at the appointment. I'm like, you know what? More for me. More for me. Because my cooking may not be attractive to some people, right? Because I'm not going to be eating, they'll say, well, when are you going to make fried chicken? Never. I'm not making fried chicken. And so, you know, if you're looking for the beef, the steak, and the pork, you're not going to find those in my kitchen, unfortunately. Been there, done that for decades. So that's why eating well is just a way of life. It's not something that you do once in a while. As I said, every time you pick something to put in your mouth, look at it and say, is this good for me? Is it good for my brain? Brain-gut connection. Remember that. Your brain gets as inflamed as your gut, depending on what you put in it. You know, if you keep having different bowel habits, you're constipated one day, and then you see, I don't like to put that on my my board because, oh, okay, I don't want that sister to get upset if she sees me using aluminum foil. I'm being respectful to my sister who's looking out for me. She's like, stop using foil. And then the doctor was saying that today. She's not today. She said, some things I don't have in my house. Plastic, aluminum foil. She said candles. Apparently the candles put out something that is not so healthy for you in the air. Oh, it tastes heavenly. Olive oil, salt, pepper. That's it. So if you want to eat beets, I encourage you to use it this way. You're going to love it. Plus, you don't lose. Because when you're boiling it, you're losing a lot of stuff from the skin and everything, right? Because the water turns red. Have you ever tried making curried salmon? No, but I can tell it would be very good. Because, you know, I make my own curry. Oh, not curry, jerk. I make my own jerk seasoning. Curried salmon. I think I would try it. But remember, we're challenged finding good salmon here. Because I'm not buying the one that they raise in the tank. Battery operated candles? Okay. I have a candle here. I haven't used it in a while. I love the smell of it around the holidays, you know, with the cinnamon and all that. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, our dressing, yep. So we got our dressing because they thawed out in the hot water. So I'm going to taste. Remember, we made this dressing before, so we can use that. I don't like to put it ahead of time, so when I'm ready to plate, I will mix the dressing. So let me taste it to see if it needs anything else. Uh-oh. I need a smaller spoon. That's good. It's got a nice amount of acid in it. Okay, so we're good with that. So we have our beets. Let's cook some fish. Let me show you how I make that. Now, if the fish was with salt and pepper only, I would put like the rosemary and the garlic and baste. But because that fish has been marinated in its own marinade, doesn't need that. So, I'm going to use my new skillet. And so we're going to put olive oil and butter, always. And here, we're going to have, and I'm talking about dusting it, nothing heavy. What it does, it just keeps the fish from sticking to the bottom so that I don't have to worry about it. I have some plain breadcrumbs, or you could use panko. And then I've had this little thing here forever, a little veal batter. And I'm just gonna put a little bit here. As I said, I just dust the fish. again, if the fish was not seasoned, I would season this little batter. But I don't need to because the fish is already seasoned. Mix, and then we're just gonna just doop, doop, boom. Let's see how we're doing in the veggie section. Woo! Ooh, yes, I think my squash is good. Here's the squash. Look how lovely. Now, if you are going to eat this with some meat or some, do like another curry, what do we call that? With chickpeas and stuff, it would be good. But I think it needs to be in here a little longer. I'm going to put it down and move the fish up. Gotta be careful, I don't burn myself. Okay. All right. Woo. You know how you open the oven and then your chain is hot. All right. There. Remember, olive oil is good for you, so. And then if I tell you, I cracked 2 eggs this week, and then the rest of the time I've been eating that cabbage mix. So I haven't had a lot of fat. I haven't seen my lab results yet. Well, I guess if it was bad, they would have called, huh? Is that how we say it? If it's good, if it's bad news, you would have heard. I don't know. And of course, these doctors don't know who they're dealing with yet. She did my EKG and then she's showing me out, and I'm like, no, I want to see it. She looked at me funny. Because, you know, they're probably not used to people being that assertive. I know, darling, I am waiting on the cookbook myself. I have been putting it off, which is a no bueno. And you know, somebody gave me an idea. She said on the website, the new website, she said you should put like a teaser video of something. I'm like, yeah, I can do that too. All right. Oops. Oh, don't mess with my nails. I finally found a nail tech that uses the nail polish that does not come off. And I'm able to keep it on for a couple of weeks. All right, so this is how I do it. I'll take the fish. Now, it shouldn't be this wet, but we just do this, and that's it. And you put it in. So it's not gonna be breaded. It's not breaded. It's just dusted. That's it. Dusted. I see. So you can pretend that you're frying it, but you're really not, right? Right. That's it. So that's not going to take long. On high. Things away. All right. So we're going to have maybe we'll do the salad put the beets and then a couple of the fish. And then the other one, we're gonna mash the squash and then put the vegetable medley and then the fish on top. How about that? I saw a lady online cook ackee with chickpeas instead of saltfish. I've cooked it with, I think you could. I just don't think I would want ackee with chickpeas, but I've cooked it with tofu. I used tofu instead of the saltfish, and it was good. Green bananas and avocado, yes, yes, yes. I mean, chickpeas, I'm telling you, chickpeas, you can do so much with it. It is so versatile. All right, so let's see how we're gonna play, Okay, we've used the blue plate too much lately, so I'm gonna put it to the side. And, yep, we're gonna use this one for the one with the veggies. And then the one that has a little depth to it, we're gonna do the salad with this, yes. So we're gonna put the beets, right? You know, I like circles, I don't know why. Another great way to use Calvina, But you know, I found some nice salted fish at the San Felipe market. And I am going to get some. And this guy even had, what is the thing that the ladies were asking me about? He will come to me. You know how my brain is working these days. It comes to me later. Now you see how the fish comes out? It's almost like you had fried it, but it's not fried, is it? Not deep fried. At least not deep fried. Ooh, yes. Very good. So our salad is gonna go in here, and we're gonna use, you know, I did that with the potatoes the other day. Or maybe we'll just leave it on the side and not do like the circle. Leave the circle alone, Maggie. The circle of life. Ooh, I love to play with my food. All right, salad and fish, that will do. And then more beets for me. Now remember, this is therapy for me, so don't judge. All right. We're gonna put the fish on paper towel. Remember, you always want to drain. So this fish, they're small, so they don't take a long time. The ackee that I got, somebody bought it for me from the States. I think if I go to Cologne, I may find it. They have lots of Jamaican people there. I'm going to Cologne probably next week. I'll check. But I still have 1 can of ackee. I have 1 left, but you know, it's canned and it's prepared. You know, I'm not too much on that. In fact, the sister who brought it for me, she's in California, and she said there was a warning on the box for the ackee, because of the brine, what they use to preserve it. So when I cook it, I drain it and then I rinse it. You know, make me feel like I'm doing something. All right, we're draining the fish. Gotta always be careful in the kitchen. So now when I'm picking up the fish, I am holding onto the handle on this skillet so it doesn't accidentally roll onto my foot. That would be a no bueno, okay? So always, don't be in a rush, but make sure you think through what you're doing in the kitchen. Because the kitchen can be a dangerous place. But you know what always amazes me when I was working in a commercial kitchen? I mean, the people would be running up and down, if you need something. And because remember, in a restaurant, speed is the name of the game. You make money by how many covers, meaning how many orders you do on a particular shift. And people, slicing, cutting. And I used to stand there and look to see how many sharp knives. Everybody had a knife bag and nobody got hurt. And of course, nowadays, I would think, if somebody goes postal and is unhappy about something, who knows what they could do in that crazy place. But the restaurant was pretty safe. Now, here is my pompano. All right. So we are good. That goes in the trash. Okay. You gave me an idea, Maria. I think I'm going to finish. I was craving the RP, but after all that warning and stuff, I'm not going to have it anymore. But I think I'm going to cook it and do one with, I'll do one with tofu and one with the saltfish. I like the saltfish, which is dry cod, right? Salted cod. And I'm getting my steam for my face. All right. We're getting our wash out. My veggies look amazing. Woo-wee. So good. All right. And the fish looks good too, but I'm going to leave it in there for a little bit. We have a few minutes. Ooh, look at the veggies. Wow. Listen, play with your food. Don't eat out. Alright, let's turn this, and we're almost done. Ooh, this one got a little crispy while I'm talking. Cover that up, baby. Alright, so this one is ready. So we're going to add a little bit of the dressing onto the salad. Not too much. You don't want it too wet. how nice salad. Fresh mushroom. I have not had that in a while. I love fresh mushrooms. I really do. All right, turn this down. All right, I'm gonna turn that off. Very good. Now, all right, we're gonna put the the salad in the middle. So it's like we're making like rows. Okay. Yes, that works. Remember, you eat with your eyes. Whatever you're serving, making sure it is visually appealing. And then we're gonna put our fish. 1. Ooh, that looks so pretty. And 2. Wow. Okay. So now to decorate, we are going to put a couple of slices of lime. Very apropos for fish. Right? Ooh, my knife had some beaks, so that means we can't use that. Gonna get another. Ooh. Look at that. Isn't that a nice lunch? Now I wish I had avocado. I didn't have avocado this week. I did not place an order for avocado. Always roll your lime to release the juices. Not that it matters because this is just decoration, but or lime or lemon. But some people always like to squeeze lemon on their food. I don't. But this is one plate. Yes. All right. So the next one. This is my pompano. This one got a little crispy. Let's turn it to the other side. All right. So my other plate, we are going to mash our squash. Oh, you don't want to mash it. You don't have to. I just want to mash it a bit. This is not going to be pureed, right? It's not pureed. Just going to be mashed. But it's almost a crime to do that because look how lovely that looks. So pretty. Like I said, if you don't want to mash it, don't mash it. Okay? I want to mash it because I want to make like a tower. You know, I'm obsessed with towering my food these days. So, and it's roughly mashed, so it's not pureed. Excellent. Ooh-wee. You want to center your food, right? See, it was perfect in terms of size. But what I'm doing right here, I'm going to make like a little bit of, oh, no. I thought I was going to put the veggies around. Yes, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the veggies around my tower. All right. Ooh. So good. Look at this, y'all. Look at this. Oh man, that looks pretty. Needs a little salt. A little sea salt. All right. Whew. Maybe I'm just going to put it on both sides. Otherwise, it would be too much and will overpower the dish. Yep, that will do. No más. Right? We using the grill fish from the oven. Oh, this is too hot. Okay. All right. Let me. Okay. Whew. Other one. Now this fish is very delicate. I'm gonna put this on the other way. Ooh, you gotta put. There we go. Okay. Ooh. All right. Ooh. So good. Let's see. I need some green. So let's use a little bit of the arugula, just the arugula with nothing else. Because, you know, otherwise everything is going to be kind of will need a pop of color. Right? Look at that. Yes. So instead of using like a parsley, we just use the arugula because you needed color. That works. Oh my goodness. And then the lime wedges. All right, we are done. We played all day. But if you wanted to just do some grains with this, without that, because remember, you need some protein, so be careful, especially as you get older. You need protein. I don't care how you get it, okay? But, so this fish was cooked in the oven on the parchment paper. And you have a vegetable medley, and then you have cooked roasted squash. Mwah. And then we did the same, but with the salad. So now that's what I do. When I cook, I make 2 dishes. All right? So you know, if you were to go somewhere and you order a plate like that, it would cost you about $20, right? Easy. Thank you so much, you ladies. But anyway, today they have a Japanese bonsai event at the mall. So I'm gonna head there and enjoy it and sit. Hopefully, if I can find my little spot where I always sit there, because the venue is on the 1st floor, and when I sit and I look down, but I'm sure it's gonna be packed. So, but I'm just gonna see it. Maybe I'll come back with a bonsai. You don't know. I don't know how to take care of it, but anyway, thank you so much, ladies, for hanging with me, listening to my shenanigans. Let us encourage each other, love each other, because that's all we got. You know, people are saying over there on the other side that we are all we've got. And this is no lie. So we have to love on each other, support each other's business, encourage each other, just speak positivity into each other. Don't bring people down, don't be jealous. And some people are still jealous in their old age. It's like, come on. I'm doing things that I like to do, not because I want to show off or because, you know, I think I'm better than anybody else. No, there are some really good chefs out there. And I look at their food, I'm like, wow, this is so good, or you're so creative. When a sister wins, I applaud. I'm so happy because if she wins, I win. There is a reflective power. But if we keep, like what's happening in South Africa, just hating on each other, we've already lost. If we're doing that, right? All right, I'm gonna stop preaching. Have a good day. I'm gonna head to the mall and enjoy the rest of my afternoon. You do the same, okay? God loves you, you know I love you. Mwah. Please hit the like button on your way out. I would appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining me. And I'll see you Sunday. Maybe we'll do that ackee on Sunday. Ackee with saltfish and with tofu. And then, since I'm not doing that, I'm staying away from plantain. I had the plantain this week, and the next day I was like, I can't eat plantain either. No bueno. So I got to come up with some veggie things to cook with it, but it will be fine. All right. Au revoir. Good day. Bye.